Good morning. It's Tuesday and it's time for our daily devotion. Today we are looking at Acts chapter 21, 17 through 36. It is Paul's first arrival in Jerusalem. And that's where we're going this week. We'll talk about Jerusalem when Paul was there and the events and look for resurrection power as we go. The passage is a little long, so I'll stop talking and get right into it. When we arrived in Jerusalem, the brothers welcomed us warmly. The next day, Paul went with us to visit James, and all the elders were present. You may remember that James was the leader of the Christians in Jerusalem. This would be James, the brother of Jesus. After greeting them, he related one by one the things that God had done among the Gentiles through his ministry. Paul related. When they heard it, they praised God. Then they said to him, "You see, brother, how many thousands of believers there are among the Jews, and they are all zealous for the law. They have been told about you that you teach all the Jews living among the Gentiles to forsake Moses, and that you tell them not to circumcise their children or observe the customs. What then is to be done? They will certainly hear that you have come. So do what we tell you. We have 4 men who are under a vow. Join these men. Go through the rite of purification with them and pay for the shaving of their heads. Thus all will know that there is nothing in what they have been told about you, but that you yourself observe and guard the law. But as for the Gentiles who have become believers, we have sent a letter with our judgment that they should abstain from what has been sacrificed to idols, and from blood, and from what is strangled, and from fornication." Then Paul took the men, and the next day, having purified himself, he entered the temple with them, making public the completion of the days of purification when the sacrifice would be made for each of them. When the 7 days were almost completed, the Jews from Asia, who had seen him in the temple, stirred up the whole crowd. They seized him, shouting, "Fellow Israelites, help! This is the man who is teaching everyone everywhere against our people, our law, and this place. More than that, he has actually brought Greeks into the temple and has defiled this holy place." For they had previously seen Trophimus the Ephesian with him in the city, and they supposed that Paul had brought him into the temple. Then all the city was aroused, and the people rushed together. They seized Paul and dragged him out of the temple, and immediately the doors were shut. While they were trying to kill him, word came to the tribune of the cohort that all Jerusalem was in an uproar. Immediately he took soldiers and centurions and ran down to them. When they saw the tribune and the soldiers, they stopped beating Paul, of course. Then the tribune came, arrested him, and ordered him to be bound with 2 chains. He inquired who he is and what he had done. Some in the crowd shouted one thing, some another, and as he could not learn the facts because of the uproar, he ordered him to be brought into the barracks. When Paul came to the steps, the violence of the mob was so great that he had to be carried by the soldiers. The crowd that followed kept shouting, "Away with him!" So the temple in Jerusalem remember, Jerusalem is an occupied city, right? The nation of Israel and Judea were occupied by Rome, and so there were soldiers' barracks right against, kind of looking over the temple, and so rushing into the temple would have been a pretty simple deal for them because they were right there. I think they did that so that because they knew if there was trouble, it was going to start or be somehow attached to the temple, the center of faith and really life and even politics for the Jews. So this is just part of the story. I think we'll complete the story tomorrow, as we think about Paul being seized by really his own people, and then seized by the centurions, both maybe to protect Paul, but also because he seemed to be the problem, and so you remove him and you might remove the violence, right? And so that's what's going on. But yesterday we sang a lament song, and today this is sort of a confession song, "O God, our refuge," number 434 in Voices Together. O God, our refuge is your love, where truth and spirit bid us stand. Through humble creatures you reveal the might and wonder of your hand. In love we do the work of faith, for justice' sake we share our bread. As Mary chose the better part, we search and study what you've said. When tyrants taught with shame and fear, your joyful comfort guides our speech, and even hemmed by prison walls, we find your strength within our reach. O God, our refuge is your love. No fear can take us captive when we follow your courageous Lamb, then leap the walls. Amen, amen, amen.